Joining me now, Eric Swalwell, Democratic Congressman of California and member of the Homeland Security Committee. First of all, let me ask you, as we report that Ronald Rowe Jr. has been tapped as acting Secret Service director, were you given a heads up? And is it clear what changes need to be made, and can they be made?
Chris, I serve on the Homeland Security Committee. I was not given a heads up. It's the right call, and I just want to step back and say violence has never been the answer. Not on a certain day in January, not on the most recent day in July. And so we need to make sure that presidential candidates and frankly political candidates at the highest level are protected, and we unite to condemn any political violence, and that unity is the antidote. But I also just want to step back today because as I questioned law enforcement in our Homeland Security hearing, they told me that there were likely hundreds of armed police officers, Secret Service, local police, in Pennsylvania inside the perimeter, and that shooter was able to get off 8 rounds. And Chris, we have to be honest with ourselves as Americans about what kind of country we are, where we are armed to the teeth, where we have over 100 million assault rifles in America, and the most dangerous people have access to the most dangerous weapons. I say that as a father of 3 little kids who go to school and do these drills. I say that as a brother to police officers who walk violent beats. And I say that as somebody who believes that the attendees at that rally deserve to hear their candidates speak without violence coming down on them. So we also need to think about just how do we arm so many dangerous people in this country, and what can we do to protect ourselves?
Well, that may be a long-term goal, and I know it has been for Joe Biden, for Democrats for a long time. But there's, 104, 105 days until Election Day. Between now and then, are you confident the president and the candidates are safe, as well as all protectees, which includes some of your colleagues?
Yeah, I'm confident that the president is going to resource the Secret Service to the best of his ability, and that has to be a priority so that we can talk about the issues of this race, and no candidate, regardless of party, has to worry about security.
So we just talked about the fact that Kamala Harris, a protectee, if and when she becomes the nominee of the Democratic Party, that will ramp up significantly. She obviously has been consolidating support. We just saw the 2 leaders, the Democratic leaders, saying officially that they back her. She's raising a lot of money. But I want to ask you to have a reality check. How tough is this race? What is going to be key to beating Donald Trump?
This race is tough, but you know who's tougher? It's Kamala Harris. It's Prosecutor Harris. I've known her for almost 20 years. She and I come from the same prosecutor's office. She's tough, she's real, she's smart. Most importantly, she's ready. And I've heard Donald Trump talk about how easily he's going to beat her. And you know who also talked that way to Ms. Harris? Other sexual predators and rapists. And if Donald Trump wants to know how that movie ends, he's going to have to go to a prison to talk to those individuals that she put away. So she's ready, and she's going to make this case. She's going to make the case about reproductive rights. She's going to make this case about the past in Donald Trump or the future. And she's also, most importantly, she's going to bring decency where Donald Trump has been chaotic and cruel and corrupt.
Congressman Eric Swalwell, always a busy day on Capitol Hill, so we appreciate you taking the time.